So this is exactly why Aspergers Syndrome is so unique. I have 3 interesting facts. All that's coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan. I have Asperger's Syndrome, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia, and I make weekly videos on this type of content. So if you're new around here and you want to hit up that Thinking Differently fam and see more videos just like this, remember to hit that subscribe button by clicking the notification bell down below. And if you're watching over on Facebook, be sure to give this page a like and a follow to see more videos just like this one every week. Okay guys, so this is a video I wanted to do for a while, just talking about the interesting things about uniqueness around autism, specifically around the term Asperger's Syndrome. And I use the term Asperger's Syndrome because that's what I had as a diagnosis, but we all know that Asperger's Syndrome is actually a name that was changed to Autism Spectrum Disorder in 2013. So just to clear that up in case anybody had any confusion about that. Anyway guys, if you are new around here and you haven't already, go check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I love following people back and making new friends. That'd be super dope. Also, I have just launched an autism membership website called levelupautism.net. The link will be in the description down below. Definitely check it out if you want to join live coaching sessions with me every single month, have courses directed from me every month, and awesome digital downloads and books and PDFs from me every single month. It's amazing. Levelupautism.net. It's just going to be, it's just awesome. Okay, so welcome back, different thinkers, where we think differently daily. I wanted to do like three interesting facts about Asperger's Syndrome, because like Asperger's Syndrome is very, very unique, or autism in itself has a very, very unique stance. And so when people use the terms Asperger's Syndrome, they actually are referring to people who have a typical kind of a lower support needs and used to be like high functioning. But we don't like to use functioning labels anymore because functioning labels imply all kinds of stuff and it gets really like messy and sticky. So what we kind of try to do now is just talk about, you know, support needs for people on the autism spectrum. So people with the Asperger's Syndrome, you know, diagnosis or autism spectrum disorder would typically have a lower support needs than that of people who have more high support needs on the other end of the spectrum, where they may not be non-verbal, they may not be able to do executive function at all or use the bathrooms and stuff like that. So there are a bunch of different ways in which we can perceive and understand people on the autism spectrum. But today I want to talk about Asperger's Syndrome in general and some interesting facts. So here we go. Here's fact number 1. So fact number 1 is that people with lower support needs in autism, or people in general, have a higher IQ. So autistic people in general have a higher IQ, and people diagnosed with Asperger's usually have an above average IQ and are very intellectual in their approach to life, which means that like people with Asperger's Syndrome typically have you know, varying degree of understanding of things on a very complex matter. This doesn't take away from the fact that other people on the autism spectrum may have high IQs as well. It's just more common in people with lower support needs of this type of diagnosis, where they are, you know, verbally accurate to go and do stuff, and they're able to walk about and use the bathroom on their own and hold down relationships. Those people who would be diagnosed with Asperger's Syndrome would have a typically quite high IQ, and this comes from the fact that autism allows someone to think a little bit differently and outside of the box, which allows their brain to just look into different ways of doing stuff, and that I guess in itself is intelligence and trying to figure things out and problem solve, which is basically what people on the autism spectrum love to do. They love to solve problems. That's why we like playing games, and that's why I like doing puzzles and stuff like that. And so everything is a math puzzle to me. But in terms of doing you know, actual activity, brain activity for, you know, your intelligence, people on the autism spectrum typically, like with Asperger's Syndrome, have a higher IQ than the neurotypical average person, which is fascinating. I mean, that really is fascinating. Okay, so number 2 is special interests. Now, people with Asperger's Syndrome will have a specific field of interest or a special interest that becomes almost obsessive, and that would be a maybe a certain kind of genre of research that they become an expert in, like an expert level of research where they're researching something so much that they just you know, fully just absorb all of that, and then they become so well absorbed in it that they become an expert at it, and maybe they reach a level of that's, you know, they could become a professional in that, or even just, you know, a project manager on that field because they're really into it. And this could be anything, but people on the autism spectrum typically have an interest field that they know a lot about, and they probably won't shut up talking about it if you ever bring it up, or if you ask them what they're into, and they'll tell you they like Fight Club. But Fight Club's not just my own special interest. I do have a bunch of other different ones. Like, you know, I did a degree in chemistry, and I also love social media marketing and all this kind of stuff. So There are very different things that I get obsessed over, but one of my main ones is UFOs and stuff like that. But yeah, I just love it. I love having a special interest, and I actually collect loads of stuff. Like all my book collection right now are books on social media marketing, because I just find it fascinating. It fascinates me. I love social media. But yeah, you definitely would typically find people on the autism spectrum would be like super engaged in it. I know of a guy who is so into Marilyn Monroe that he like researched everything about her death, where she was born, who her parents were, her friends were. He even went to the house that she last lived in before she died, and that was just really interesting. Like he just loved it, you know, flew out to where she used to live, where she used to party, hang out and stuff, and he just knew everything about Marilyn Monroe, and I think that's great to have an interest that you really enjoy like that. So yeah, special interest. Okay, so number 3, most of the famous scientists in history who helped shape the world we live in today showed signs of Aspergers syndrome. And actually, I was reading an article saying that if you know, autism was diagnosable back in the day, then a lot of these main awesome scientists, mainly British actually, would have been diagnosed with autism or Aspergers syndrome. Now these do include people like Sir Isaac Newton, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, to name a few. Okay, I know that only one of those guys was British, but there are a load of British scientists, I mean, which were in this article I was reading. But people like Sir Isaac Newton actually had a very interesting life, where he actually, the apartment that he was renting from his landlord, he asked his landlord if they could create a stairwell, like a staircase, at the back of the apartment, so that he could sneak into his own house rather than going in the front door, because he'd be confronted with people, because he had high levels of social anxiety, and social disruption would cause him to have kind of some sort of meltdown. And this is very, very common in Asperger's syndrome, and Isaac Newton was obviously akin to that. Same with Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein actually he was just so clever, it was ridiculous, but he had very interesting things and very interesting traits about him, where he would definitely be characterized as being on the autism spectrum right about now. And Nikola Tesla, wow, I mean, this guy is just incredible. Excuse me. Nikola Tesla actually never had a relationship, never had a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or anything like that. And Nikola Tesla was just committed to his work. He never had a relationship. He was very isolated. He was very introverted, which is again parallel. It runs absolutely side by side with autism spectrum disorder or Asperger's symptoms, because you know someone with Asperger's syndrome would be more of an introvert. They would kind of keep themselves to themselves and not really all the time worry about romance and relationships, because it's not at the forefront of their life. When their life's work is their also obsessive interest, like Nikola Tesla, and his was electricity and stuff. And you know, you got to think these guys shaped the way we live today, and we're all thankful for it. So that's just fascinating. I love all of that. Now, if you have anything to add to this video, please pop it in a comment down below. Share this video on Facebook and Twitter, because that would be amazing. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.